that he sees everything, he understands everything, and is willing to do something about it. And he is doing something about it. And that is quite commendable for me. That is the kind of message that I want to see during festivities like this. A moment where you can connect people, where people can come together and see themselves as just one common folk. It's a very good one. And of course, we do sincerely hope that the message is that people of fringe faiths, have been saying that there must be inclusion, regardless of whatever you profess to worship. You first and foremost, you are united by humanity.
Yes.
And then we can talk about our differences in very polite, mild,
non-violent
yeah, exactly.
manners. So we can hope for a better 2026 with peaceful coexistence among different faiths.
I pray for so.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. The views to be expressed, by the way, the views to be expressed is
not in any way the position of Flow FM 92.7, but solely as expressed by our resident analyst Nicholas Uwerunonye. And as for many comments that we received this morning, you have the space of 60 seconds, 1 minute to make your comment, and then you go straight to the point. Let us know where you're calling from and speak this morning. Merry Christmas from all of us on Headline News Analysis.
We're streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook at Flow FM 927, and you can follow us across all the social media platforms as well. It's the same across all of them at Flow FM 927. Now, the message President Bola Tinubu sent out was to assure Nigerians of his resolve to uphold religious freedom and protect citizens of all faiths from violence, as he delivered his 2025 Christmas goodwill message, congratulating Christians on the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. The president described Christmas as a season that reflects peace, love, hope, and goodwill to humanity, while calling on Nigerians to draw inspiration from the message of Christ as the Prince of Peace. He noted that Christians in Nigeria have continued to make meaningful contributions to national development through acts of compassion, service to the vulnerable, and promotion of harmony in their communities. President Tinubu also said every Nigerian has the right to live, worship, and pursue their aspirations in safety and dignity, stressing that no one should suffer discrimination on the basis of faith. He added that his administration will continue to work with religious leaders to promote peaceful coexistence, while wishing Nigerians safe travels during the festive period and a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
First and foremost, you see, maybe we need to let me start by saying this. Henceforth, I intend to be a bit more balanced, a bit more relaxed when looking at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because you see, that statement he has made, you understand, is quite refreshing, considering where we were coming from. You understand? In terms of balancing his administration, in terms of Christian-Muslim, you see a clear balance, total departure from what you used to have under late President Muhammadu Buhari. The man was unabashedly one-sided where faith is concerned. And I state this, and the records are there, for everybody to see. You understand? And, don't forget the recent, pronunciation of certain things, certain crimes as terrorism. It's equally part of it. That if you use religion to incite and lead to violence, it's an act of terrorism. That, again, it's a very good one. So I, in this New Year statement,
the Christmas
statement, yes. It's a reaffirmation of that thing. It's that affirmation thing we are talking about. You have to make affirmation about certain things that appear to be going awry. You understand? That is, you deliberately work towards it by making statements, and you let your policy, follow. So we look forward to, a better translation, of that words into action, as we enter 2026.
Well, the Kwara governor, said that he is thanking, just put it together again, is thanking Christians, for their consistent support. You find that in the statement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as well, so knowing fully well it's a Muslim ticket, at the federal level,
exactly,
and at the state level, you have the governor being Muslim, and of course his deputy, His Excellency Kayode Alabi. He's a Christian,
yeah,
of course. And then you can actually see where the both leaders are coming from. It says for their consistent support, understanding, solidarity, and commitment to peaceful coexistence.
Yeah. When you look at, there has been a lot of instances where people, individuals, interests have tried to use religion to create discord. And most times when you see the intervention of the governor, he has always been neutral. I must give that to him. He's been very neutral about it. And when he speaks to issues. That is all. If he's more of a less talk, more of action. There'll be a few times that you've heard him speak. He speaks true to a man that is committed to neutrality. And of course, despite the fact that some of those things are very, they've been very provocative. Those actions have been, by some religious actors, that have been very provocative. But you have find a consistency where, when you reach out to, religious leaders, especially the Christian leaders, they respond in kind, and there is, they say a lot of things that kind of douses tension and things like that. We've seen a lot of that consistently over the years, and especially under the tenure of the current governor. You've seen a lot of instances where things that in the past would have led to fracas, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of harsh talks over the media, but you see a kind of everything just goes away, and what happens is that the man talks to them privately. He's not this kind of showy person. So I believe that is what he's talking about. That is what he's talking about. That consistently, when he reaches out to them, they listen and they talk to people. You understand? And of course, particularly in Kwara, when you look into the churches, you hardly hear messages that are incendiary in nature. You understand? You hardly hear things like that. That in itself is commendable. They don't go to church and whip up sentiments, about this and that. Even in the height of hijab crisis, the Christian Association of Nigeria leaders stood up, to be counted. There was a lot of meeting with the governor. There was a little, who was represented by one of his, aides. There was a lot of meeting. There was a lot of talking to. Even though there were some, cabinet members whose comments at that time were quite incendiary. And that is the simple truth. And if they want us to start mentioning names, we'll mention names. We'll repeat what they said at that time. But they didn't take the bait. So, and I think that this is one way of saying, I saw it. That is one way of AA saying, I saw it all. And I thank you for your maturity. So that is what I think. That is what I can make from there. And that still goes to show. There is one other very good example. I'm sure you've heard of Governor Agbazika, the military governor Godwin, is it George Agbazika-Ini, that was the governor of Kwara State, who did most of his legacies are still very much around. People still talk about him in glowing terms. Actually, he should have built what we should have called a main bow, befitting main bow for Kwara State. But unfortunately, politics and everything scuttled it. But all over the years, there has been governors and no monument was named after him. But who decided to do that? It was Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, a Muslim himself, deciding to honor that man and named the Kwara State Stadium, iconic stadium, after him. So you see, what you see here is a man who sees so much but says very little and lets his actions speak. So that he could say this, in fact, that he could say this says a lot. Says a lot about the kind of man he is. You understand? He's this kind of enigmatic person. He has kind of, redefined this thing. Let's talk more action. Work, more action. He has redefined it completely. Because if you are talking of an epitome, that is a humanization of such statement, you have it in AA. A man who doesn't think, but he's there. You feel his presence. So that is what I would recommend for people who want to lead. They should take a lesson from that. That this sometimes it's not all about prancing all over the places with convoys and the rest of it, making highfalutin, statements all over the places. But sometimes, what you don't say means a lot. Silence can be very loud.
Oh yes,
and that is what you're saying.
Very true. Alrighty. We know that the birth of Jesus Christ is a good gift to the world, described as the Prince of Peace, and of course, a fantastic gift. What gift do you think Nigerians deserve from the federal government and from the state governments at this time, knowing fully well the big sacrifice of this season? So what is the sacrifice in terms of good governance, security, what's the sacrifice government should take this time? In just using Christmas as,
you'll see, if you want to itemize it, it's going to be a long list. But I think that it can be encapsulated in just one thing, and which I have consistently been saying. The only gift that the federal government can give Nigerians is the sense of citizenship.
Thank you.
That is it. The moment you hand over citizenship to the average Nigerian, because as it is right now, let's be very frank, we are not citizens. We are only residents in Nigeria. Because, there is a lot of things that comes with being a citizen. It means that when one person dies, you ask questions. You thoroughly probe what happened to citizen A, citizen B. That is what happens if an American dies in Nigeria.
Definitely.
You know what that means. Look at what happened a few days. Was it a few days ago? Some military officers, 2 or 3 military officers and one translator, one of them a Muslim, American, died in Syria because of ISIS attack. Look at what United States of America did. That is to tell you that they don't joke with their citizens. And most of the things that you see, the foreign wars that they fight, Afghanistan and things like that, go and look at, they are just contractors. They bring in people because they know that if they take that is a U.S. army and he loses his life there, you must answer to Congress. You have to explain why he died. You understand? So you see, that sense of citizenship is what we are looking for. That is what I think that's the biggest gift that you can give to Nigerians. You understand that the moment you are born as a Nigerian, you understand, from your birth, even before you were born, Nigeria starts to take care of you. You understand? So if there is a way you can encapsulate a law, an actionable law that makes the federal government responsible for every citizen of Nigeria, I think it's the biggest gift. In fact, something very, very, minusculely close to the kind of sacrifice we are talking about. Because that sacrifice is about, that is, if I understand it correctly, that is if my interpretation syncs with everybody, is like men falling short of a divine requirement. A divine requirement that that will make God see you the way he has created you. And for some reason, for some mistakes, you understand, you committed, you fell short of that divine requirement. Then a corresponding sacrifice had to be made. And one man willingly decided to sacrifice himself for that. So that is the gift that man, that he gave to humanity. So it's a very big gift. You understand? To be born solely for that purpose. You understand? So now, in the case of this instance, we are talking of given all the sufferings that we have. What can federal government do? Federal government must pull up stops, pull up barriers, pull everything out of the way to just give that one thing to Nigerian citizens, a sense of citizenship.
All right. Thank you, Nicholas.
How long will it take to achieve that? Should it even take time?
It's about will. It shouldn't take time. It's about willpower. A very good example is, look at this, the autonomy thing we're talking about. Maybe we might talk about it later. The Supreme Court ruled that there should be autonomy for financial, fiscal autonomy for local government. See how long it's taking. So what we are saying is that if the president decides that, okay, this autonomy thing, we have to enforce it regardless of whose ox is going, even if it means I'll have to lose the second time in office, you should go ahead and do it. You understand?
All right.
0807 777 9927. Again, 0807 777 9927 is number to call to send a message to on WhatsApp to make a comment. Let's move to another news story before we round off on the analysis this morning. The Academic Staff Union of Universities and the federal government have concluded the renegotiation of the 2009 federal government ASU agreement, bringing an end to years of prolonged discussions over lecturers' welfare and the funding of public universities. ASU disclosed this development on their Facebook page and noting that the agreement was reached on December 23rd, 2025 and would take effect from January 1st, 2026, with a review scheduled after 3 years. Now, under the new agreement, academic staff in public universities will receive a 40% salary increase alongside improved pension benefits, with professors entitled to pensions equivalent to their annual salary upon retirement at 70. The deal also introduces a new funding framework for universities covering research, libraries, laboratories, equipment, and staff development, as well as a proposed National Research Council to be funded with at least 1% of Nigeria's gross domestic product. Other provisions include enhanced university autonomy, strengthened academic freedom, and the election of academic leaders from the rank of professors, assurances that no academic will face victimization for participation in previous industrial actions.
Well, that's a very comprehensive list.
Yeah. It's a lot of things as well.
You see, that is another very big win for the federal government. You see, this is about the first time we've heard of the conclusion of a negotiation between ASU in a very, very long while. And that ASU itself, came out to acknowledge that that negotiation is over, says a lot. That is, they left that place fully satisfied. So, I think getting the agreement signed is the first, and which they have done. You understand? The other leg is going to be the implementation. And I'm kind of excited about one of the provisions, which is, provision for research, library, and of course there is a council of research, that will be set up to be funded by certain percentage of the gross domestic 1% of the gross
GDP.
You see, these are some of the things we were saying. You see, what you call TED fund used to be ETF. You understand? ETF, Education
Trust Fund.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Please
go
ahead. Okay. Education Trust.
Let's try then.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Merry Christmas to you as well.
And you too. Happy Christmas to Mr. Nicholas and Double G. I think I capture everybody there, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
morning.
you.
Good morning. Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Shito. I'm coming from Sango.
All right, Shitu. Go ahead, please.
I read the president's message yesterday. I think it was catchy, and for those who know antecedents of Mr. President, you will know that it's a lover of worship. For him to have had a Christian, not only a Christian, a pastor, as the only wife in his house. So it takes a lot. But the problem around, lack of trust is that, things are just changing gradually. As we said, inclusiveness, when you carry all shit along, because if you see all the allegations around all the genocide thing, it's just a kind of suspicion. It's not that people are just thinking that what do you expect for Muslim ticket? You get it now. So that is the issue. And going forward, if you think about how to carry everybody along, even those who does not belong to the two faiths, because it's all about country, not about religion. So I think for them, the best gift they can give Nigeria for this season is that the president should try more to secure this nation and help around people's income. I don't know how they want to go about it, because the difference between Nigeria and some other world wars now is income and security. If they can give those two, we are better than many of these countries. So, and for the governors, the only gift we want for them, they should allow local government autonomy. Because just imagine, if 770, whatever, the local government in Nigeria are functioning, do you know how the poverty will be reduced? And if all of them, that is the governor, are prioritizing what they are doing, not that they will just wake up and be building all those white elephant projects. They should go by a scale of preference, alternative for opportunity cost, things like that. Before you know, Nigeria will become a better country in the world. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
That is
Mr.
my comment this
Shitu.
morning.
Thank you, Shitu.
Thank you a lot.
Well, he has said a lot he has unpacked a lot, within that 1 minute recap. And, what really struck me is that, this point he made about the issue of, alleged genocide, that it is mostly about perception. And he is absolutely correct about it, because, sometimes when you see perception does just not come out of thin air. There are concatenations. There are, telltales that kind of tell that story. Is this saying that if it walks like a dog, quacks like a dog, then it's probably a dog. You understand? But the thing is that sometimes some things could walk like a dog, quack like a dog, and not really a dog, just mimicking a dog. You understand? So that is the case of this genocide thing. That but again, is that allegation has to be made to make the federal government sit up. We see what have been happening all over in the last, since global focus shifted to Nigeria on that thing. You see federal government working around the clock. You see a lot of doubling down like we've never seen before. Then all of a sudden, all the so-called core northerners that call themselves opposition team, you see them sounding so tribalistic all of a sudden. Saying that, excusing the killings and, so it brings out a lot of, then all of a sudden, people who have been so loud have become quiet. So you see, what that tells you is that nobody who goes there to rule Nigeria consciously decides to go and wipe out one section or the other. It's always some sectional interest that just want to take advantage of their position close to power to do something nefarious to their fellow citizens.
All right. Let's take this comment from Facebook, Dr. Mrs. Ma Olebara. Happy Christmas to all of you at Flow FM. Thank you. Back at you, Doctor. Christmas will make sense if we use the period for meditation and evaluation of activities for the year and give gratitude to God for his blessings, favor, love, guidance, and protections. We should allow the birth of Jesus Christ to transform our life so that it will be meaningful to us. Celebrating him is not enough, but having a personal relationship is the most important. Let's use the Christmas to seek God and draw closer to him. Thank you very much for your message.
Let's take another call. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning to you.
You're live? Good morning. All right. Let's move ahead real quick. We have less than 2 minutes.
We're still talking about ASU.
We're still talking about ASU. How does this paint this administration's focus on improving the quality of education? Because again, in the appropriation bill submitted before the National Assembly, we see and we hear that defense, security, and education took the huge chunk of the budget, of the proposed budget.
Yeah, I think the federal government has been very deliberate. Very, very deliberate in their policy enunciation and attempts at implementing them. If you look at a lot of policies that they have made on education in the last, they've been revolutionary. Let us be very honest with that. From reviewing the curriculum, to interventions, especially in the area of JAMB and the rest of them, all those controversies that we saw.
Even WAEC.
They've been revolutionary, and that tells you that a lot of people are thinking and are moving towards their thoughts, to see how they can improve things, So then, of course, the biggest, demonstration is the budget, like you said. Hello,
good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. All right, please go on.
Okay. So, like I said, federal government have been very, very deliberate in all their actions and what they have been doing, especially where, education is concerned. And now the biggest demonstration is what you have in that budget, the budget summary. And, for United Nations has been very consistent that the education, health, has been the major indicators of development. Your budget, they look at your budget vis-a-vis, what you put in your education, So, I think, the federal government has been doing well in that regard.
How do you think this will sit with members of ASU or members of the academic?
Oh, I think they will be happy. Don't forget that news came from a press release by ASU itself, not from federal government. You understand? So that tells you that they are satisfied. But again, I know they are going to be kind of they are going to watch how things pan out because they have a history. They have a history with federal government.
Alrighty, we cannot longer take any further comments, but we'd like to take a part in short this Christmas morning, Nicholas.
Well, this is the Yuletide period. There is festivity, but like I said, I have focused on the meaning behind those things. As humans, how do we relate to each other?
All right.
So
All right, then.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for joining us on the Headline News Analysis for today. We're back to your ears tomorrow, God willing. The views expressed is not in any way the position of Flow FM 92.7 or the staff therein, but is expressed by our in-house analyst, Nicholas Uwerunonye, and the people who called on the show this morning. Thank you for joining us. We're back to your ears tomorrow. I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey.
And I am Adedayo. Adeyemi. Have a wonderful Christmas celebration. Good morning. And don't forget the reason for the season.
Baba, make you help me, make I dey shine my eyes, make my enemies no see